So you just saw a demo video of the servo motor being driven by STM32. So let us go to the basics of the microcontroller programming which are used to drive the servo. Before that we will learn the circuit diagram, the connection diagram which is needed for this project, and we will learn the whole code and we will get the whole snapshot of the code which is used to program the STM32. So let's start. We have a 8-volt battery just powering the hobby servo. In between the power connections we have a switch. Positive is connected to positive of the hobby servo, negative of the battery is connected to the negative of the hobby servo, and the ground of the microcontroller, in our case it is STM32, is connected to the negative of the both hobby servo and 8-volt battery. So we can say it is common connection. And the GPIO is driving the signal pin of the hobby servo, which is in between the positive and negative power connections. So what is driving this signal pin? What is the basics of the signal pin? This signal pin has a PWM signal on it which has 50 Hz frequency and varies between 1 milliseconds to 2 milliseconds duty cycle. So let us go to our code and see how we are coding for this PWM signal in SimSys. This is the view of the code which we are feeding the STM32 and getting a PWM signal of 50 Hz, 1 milliseconds to 2 milliseconds duty cycle, which is varying continuously. So I have not used any delay in this code. As you can see there is nothing in the while loop. I am running 2 timers which are used. One is used for varying the duty cycle and the other one is to create a PWM signal. So let us start. First include the header file and declare the functions which we have used. First you are using a variable here, that is I am using the storage class static for it. In the main function, first initialize the clock of the GPIO and the timers have to be initialized, the clock have to be enabled. After that, set the GPIO pins which in our case is only one, the P8 pin, and set it in alternate function mode. After that, initialize the timer 1 and then timer 2. In timer 1 initialization, let us see what we have. We are configuring this timer in PWM mode. This code is for timer 1 in PWM mode. So first we have to assign the basic registers with the values we have set before: P-scaler, ARR and count register. Count register is assigned a variable value, that is I, and for PWM settings I am setting the CCR1 register value to 100. CCR1 is used for duty cycle settings. ARR is used for the period. We can adjust the period by it. And after that, we need to enable these bits, 5th, 6th and 3rd bit of CCMR1 register. And we need to set a CC1 enable, CC1P enable of the CCR register, and for setting there are more some settings in the BDDR register. You have to set the 15th, 10th bit that are MOE enable and OSSI enable. After that, we have to set this bit of EGR register, and we have timer 2 configured in the interrupt mode. We have configured the timer to update interrupt. As you can see, I am setting the value of die register, so it is configured. Second bit is set to 1, which means it is set in timer update interrupt mode, and this is the P-scaler value, this is AR value, and this is the handler. So here I am enabling the timer to update interrupt in the vector table, so I don't need any statement in while or polling method stuff. So whenever after a few fixed time, the control comes here in this timer to interrupt update interrupt service routine, and here I am increasing the value of the CCR1 register, so the duty cycle is increasing, and after a fixed interval of time it resets back to 1 value. So by this method I am varying the timer CCR register value, or you can say the duty cycle value. Therefore I am getting a 50 Hz signal and varying from 1 milliseconds to some more milliseconds, which is not exactly 2 milliseconds, varying between 1 millisecond and 2 milliseconds. It is varying from 1 millisecond to higher values. Now you will see a varying signal on that of PWM on the oscilloscope screen.